What's good? What's great? It's your girl Killer Queen Secret T, aka Blackout T, aka ooh, we finna get right into this mess. Cause we left off in the middle of a story. So remember, the girl had just gave her baby and said, "Look, I ain't coming back. Take the baby." Look at here, Bonnie cried. I can't do this. I can't be doing this. You look like a nice lady, the girl says. She turns to leave the porch. You got me and God's blessings both. Wait a minute, Bonnie yelled. Hey, girl. She has a trap to follow the young woman around to the back of the house. Wait just a damn minute there. Here, she screamed. Hey, you men. Please. Seconds later, the girl had disappeared into the woods. The baby cried out as Bonnie labored to run as fast as the clearing go for a follow, barking the whole way. Bonnie stopped at the edge of the woods, out of breath, searching the darkness in a panic. Thora, she hollered toward the house. Help me here. What you want me to do? Thora called. Something, Bonnie cried. Thora stepped past the bare blackberry bushes. You the one stood up and said it, Bonnie Wilder. Bonnie rocking the crying baby. Don't tell me that, damn it. Can't cuss in front of that child, Thora teased. Don't you dare, Thora D. Don't you try me now. Thora searched the black woods, but could see no movement. Tell me this. Didn't just happen, she said to herself. She peeked into the blanket. The baby's eyes were two slits and his body was shaking from screaming so loud. Nass is gonna kill me. Yep, Thora said, covering her ears against the noise. Oh my Lord, Bonnie whispered when she looked into the blanket again. That woman just left her baby. What in the world am I gonna do with this child? Don't ask me, Thora said, lighting a cigarette. I ain't got no kids and don't want no kids. Bonnie walked wearily towards the back lawn. She set the basket of clothes at the bottom of the steps beside her wash basket. They carried the screaming baby into the house. Godfrey, who usually rushed in, looked content to stay on the back porch. He lay there with his head down, recoiling at the sound of the wailing boy. Bonnie held the child with one arm and clicked on the kitchen light. Her body felt numb, and the house seemed almost foreign with the sound of the crying child. She paced the aluminum floor while Thora opened a bottle of wine. Her impression was one of amusement as she drew on her cigarette. This gonna be a two-bottle night, Thora called over the wailing. None for me, Bonnie said. Gotta keep my wits. You been the mama for all of 5 minutes and you are already you ain't no damn fun. Bonnie took the child into the living room and sat on a soft sofa with the boy in her lap. The child's screaming had begun to calm, and his eyes widened. He looked as dazed as Bonnie. Her head spun with questions. Who was this mama, and how could she leave this baby? She could tell that this child knew his mama was gone. Surely he could sense the change in the body rhythm. Bonnie swayed gently, trying to assure him that everything would be just fine. Thora walked from the kitchen with a water glass full of wine. The pantry of a dainty cup hardly seemed necessary after the night's events. She sat at the vinyl covered dining table, looked just a few feet away from the couch, and tapped the ashes from a cigarette into the ashtray. What you gonna tell Naz? Heck if I know. Bonnie laid the baby on the couch and opened his soy blanket. His clothes were just as filthy and stained. The boy seemed to be watching her as she removed the tiny shirt and the limp, tattered diaper. His naked body looked like a chunk of bittersweet chocolate. Bonnie grabbed a dry dolly from the armrest of the sofa and draped it over the child's body. She sat in Thora's arms and dashed into the bedroom. This child stank to the heavens, Thora cried, and the cigarette clenched between her teeth. But he's just as cute as a kitty. Moments later, Bonnie returned with a damp cloth, one of Nancy's old t-shirts, and a can of Tottenham powder. Ooh, I'm doing good. She wiped him down and sprinkled the powder over his body. Bonnie used her teeth to bite a tear into the cotton, ripped it, and fastened it around the baby's bottom. Then secured the makeshift diaper with 2 safety pins. Funny how she had nothing in the house to take care of the baby, but somehow maternal instincts and imagination took over. What the hell are you going to do, honey? Thora asked. I need to sleep on this one, she said. Ain't nobody getting no sleep tonight. Bunny man clicked away. I'm going to tell Nance the truth, she said. I mean, the child just come to me, right? You did kind of ask for it. I asked for a lot of things, Bonnie snapped. So, I don't know, Bonnie looked around helplessly. And I ain't going to think about it no more. Cause the mom will be back. She'll change her mind and be back for Nance even come home tomorrow. I wouldn't hold my breath, Thora said. If Mama Girl had the notion to leave this baby, then I'm afraid the child just plain left. As if on cue, the baby begins to whine then wail. Damn it, Bonnie. Get the boy some milk or something. Mama says she just feed him. Then give him a sip of this, Thora said, holding up her wine glass. This will calm his ass down. Bonnie ignored her friend's trifling remarks. She held the baby's cheeks to her own. His little puffs of breath were sweet, and his face felt like butter. She couldn't understand how the mother could just leave. And more, Bonnie couldn't believe that someone had actually taken her statement to heart. The infant whimpered, then yawned, then slept on her shoulder. Nance would understand, Bonnie thought. She laid the baby's sleeping body across her chest. Nance would have to understand. The baby had just come to her. Ooh, that was good. We did good. Chapter 5, we finished it. Moving right on. I think we're going to be able to do the tick. If we do real good. With a little Link Prince. As a plan was quite excellent. Almost like a desert. Without any sand and led to nowhere except the still almost desolate seacoast. Oh, I read that part. Whatever mystery was there was about the tower. It in the sky and the plane kept their secret to themselves. It was a very great secret indeed. A state secret, which none but so clever a man as the present king of no man's land would have ever thought of. How he carried it out undiscovered, I cannot tell. People said long afterwards that it was by means of a gang of contraband criminals who were set to work and executed immediately after they had finished, so that nobody knew anything, or in the least suspected the real fact. And what was that fact? Why, that this tower, which seemed a mere mass of imaginary, utterly forsaken and uninhabited, was not so at all. Within 20 feet at the top, some Indian architect had planned a perfect little house, divided into 4 rooms, as by drawing across within a circle you will see might easily be done. By making skylights and a few slits in the walls for windows, and raised the peaked roof which was hidden by the parchment, here was a dwelling complete, 80 feet above the ground, and as accessible as the rocket's nest on top of a tree. A charming place to live in, if you once got up there and never wanted to come down again. Inside, though no one could have looked inside except a bird, and hardly even a bird flew past that lonely tower. Inside, it was furnished, all with the comforts and elegance imaginable, with lots of books and toys, everything that the heart of a child could desire. For its only inhabitant, except the nurse, of course, was a poor solitary child. On winter's nights, when all the plain was white with moonlight, they were seen crossing it a great tall black horse, ridden by a man also big and equally black, carrying before him on a saddle a woman and a child. The woman, she had a sad, fierce look, and no wonder she was a criminal under sentence of death. But her sentence had been changed to almost a severe punishment. She was to inhabit the lonely tower with the child, and was allowed to live as long as the child lived. No longer. This, in order that she might take the utmost care of him, for those who put him there were equally afraid of his dying and of his living. Damn. That's what we at. Yet he was only a little gentle boy with a sweet, sleepy smile. He had been very tired from his long journey, and with clingy arms, which held tight to the man's neck, for he was rather frightened, and the face, stern as it was, looked kindly at him. And he was very helpless, with his poor, small, shriveled legs, which could neither stand nor run away. For the little forlorn boy was Prince Dolor. He had not been dead at all, or buried either. His grand funeral had been a mere pretense, a wax figure having been put in his place, while he himself was sprinted away under charge of these 2, the condemned woman and the black man. The latter was deaf and dumb, so could neither tell nor repeat anything. When they reached the foot of the tower, there was light enough to see a huge chain dangling from the parched neck, but dangling only halfway. The deaf mute took from his saddle wallet a sort of ladder, arranged in pieces like a puzzle, fitted together, and lifted it up to meet the chain. Then he mounted to the top of the tower and slung from it a sort of chair in which the woman and child placed themselves and were drawn up, never to come down again as long as they lived. Damn. Leaving them there, the man descended the ladder, took it to pieces again, and placed it in his pack. Damn, you just gonna leave him now? Oh, my boy, you just gonna leave us here? My boy, come back. My boy, come back. Mounted his horse and disappeared across the plain. Every month they used to watch for him, appearing like a speck in the distance. He fastened his horse to the foot of the tower and climbed it, as before, laden with provisions and many other things. He always saw the prince, so as to make sure that the child was alive and well, and then went away the following month. While his first childhood lasted, Prince Dolor was happy enough. He had every luxury that even a prince could need, and the only thing wanting, love, never having known, he did not miss. His nurse was very kind to him, though she was a wicked woman. But neither she had not been quite so wicked as people said, or she grew better through being shut up constantly with a little innocent child who was dependent upon her for every comfort and pleasure of his life. It was not an unhappy life. There was nobody to tease or ill-use him, and he was never ill. He played about from room to room. There were 4 rooms, parlor, kitchen, his nurse's bedroom, and his own. Learned to crawl like a fly, and to jump like a frog, and to run about all 4s almost as fast as a puppy. In fact, he was very much like a puppy or a kitten, as thoughtless in his mercy, scarcely ever cross, though sometimes a little wary. Okay, wait till you get a team. As he grew older, he occasionally liked to be quiet for a while. Then he would sit at the slits of windows, which were, however, much bigger than they looked from the bottom of the tower, and watch the sky above and the ground below, with the storm sweeping over, and the sunshine coming and going, and the shadows of the clouds running races across the blank plain. By and by, he began to learn lessons. Not that his nurse had been ordered to teach him, but she did it partially to amuse herself. She was not a stupid woman, and Prince Dolor was by no means a stupid boy, so they got on very well. In his constant entry, "What can I do? What can you find me to do?" was stopped at least for an hour or 2 in the day. Okay, she cared. It was a dull life, but he never known any other, anyhow. He remembered no other, and he did not pity himself at all. Not for a long time, till he grew quite a big little boy, and could read quite easily. Then he suddenly took to books, which the deaf mute brought him from time to time. Books which, not being acquainted with the literature of no man's land, I cannot describe. But no doubt they were very interesting, and they informed him of everything in the outside world, and filled him with an intense longing to see it. From this time a change came over the boy. He began to look sad and thin, and to shut himself up for hours without speaking. For his nurse hardly spoke, and whatever questions he asked beyond their ordinary daily life, she never answered. She had indeed been forbidden, on pain of death, to tell him anything about himself, who he was, or what he might have been. He knew he was Prince Dolor, because she always addressed him as "my prince," and "your royal highness." But what a prince was he had not the least idea. He had no idea of anything in the world, except what he found in his books. He sat one day surrounded by them, having built them up around him like a little castle wall. He had been reading them half the day, but feeling all the while that to read about things which you never can see is like hearing about a beautiful dinner while you are starving. For almost the first time in his life, he grew mechanically. His hands fell on his lap. He sat glazing out the window slit upon the view outside, the view he had looked at every day of his life, and might look for endless days more. Not a very cheerful blue, just a plane in the sky, but he liked it. He used to think if he could only fly out that window, up to the sky, or down to the plane, how nice it would be. Perhaps when he died, his nurse had told him, once in anger, that he would never leave the child till he died. He might be able to do this. Not that he understood much what dying meant, but it might be a change. And any change seemed to him a blessing. And I wish I had someone to tell me all about it. About that and many other things. Somebody that would be found in me, like my poor white kitten. Here the tears came into his eyes, for the boy's one friend, the one interest in his life, had been a little white kitten, which the deaf mute, kindly smiling, took out of his pocket and gave him, the only living creature Prince Darla had ever seen. 4 weeks it was his constant plaything and companion. Till one moonlight, it took a fancy for wandering, climbed onto the parchment of the tower, dropped over and disappeared. Dang, Dad. It was not killed, he hoped, for cats had 9 lives indeed. He almost fancied he saw it pick itself up and scamper away, but he never caught sight of it again. Yes, I wish I had something better than a kitten, a person, a real-life person, who would be fond of me and kind to me. Oh, I want someone, dreadfully, dreadfully. As he spoke, there sounded behind him a slight tap, 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 as of a stick or a cane, and twisting himself around, he saw, what do you think he saw? Nothing either frightening or ugly, but still exceeding curious. A little woman, no bigger than he might himself, had his legs grown like those of other children, but she was not a child. She was an old woman. Her hair was gray, and her dress was gray, and there was a gray shadow over her wherever she moved. But she had the sweetest smile, the prettiest hands, and when she spoke, it was the softest voice imaginable. My dear little boy, and dropping her cane, the only bright and rich thing about her, she laid those 2 tiny hands on his shoulders. My own little boy, I could not come to you until you had said you wanted me. But now do want me. Here I am. And you are very welcome, madam, replied the prince, trying to speak politely, as princes always did in books. And I'm exceedingly obliged to you. May I ask, who are you? Perhaps my mother? For he knew the little boys usually had a mother, and occasionally wondered what had become of his own. No, said the visitor, with a tender, half-sad smile, putting back the hair from his forehead and looking right into his eyes. No, I am not your mother, though she was a dear friend of mine, and you are as like her as you can be. Will you tell her to come and see me, then? She cannot, but I dare say she knows all about you, and she loves you very much, and so do I, and I want to help you all I can, my poor little boy. Why do you call me poor? Asked Prince Dolor in surprise. The old woman glanced down on his legs and feet. You're like, ain't nothing wrong with me? Which he did not know were different from those of other children. And then at his sweet bright face, which though he knew not that either, was exceedingly different from many children's faces, which are often so fretful, cross-sucking. Looking at him instead of sighing, she smiled. I beg your pardon, my prince, she said. Yes, I am a prince, and my name is Dolor. Will you tell me yours, madam? The little old woman laughed with a chime of silver bells. I have not a name, or rather I have so many names that I don't know which one to choose. However, it was I who gave you yours, and you belong to me all your days. I am your godmother. Hooray, cried the little prince. I am glad I belong to you, for I like you very much. Will you come and play with me? So they sat down together and played. By and by they began to talk. Are you very dull here? Asked the little old woman. Not particularly, thank you, godmother. I have plenty to eat and drink, and my lessons to do, and my books to read. Lots of books. And you want nothing? Nothing. Yes, perhaps, if you please, godmother. Could you bring just one more thing? What sort of thing? A little boy to play with. The old woman looked very sad. Just a thing, alas, which I cannot give you, my child. I cannot alter your lot in any way, but I can help you bear it. Thank you. Why do you talk of bearing it? I have nothing to bear. My poor little man, said the old woman in the most tenderest tone of her tender voice, kiss me. What is the kissing? Asked the wondering child. His godmother took him in her arms and embraced him many times. Oh, snap. By and by, he kissed her back again, at first awkwardly and shyly, then with the strength of his warm little heart. You are better to cuddle than even my white kitten, I think. Promise me that you will never go away. I must, but I will leave a present behind me. Something as good as myself to amuse you. Something that will take you wherever you want to go and show you all that you wish to see. What is it? A traveling cloak. The princess' contents failed. I don't want a cloak, for I never go out. Sometimes nurse hoists me up onto the roof and carries me round by the parchment. But that is all. I can't walk, as she does. The more reason why you should ride. And besides, this traveling cloak, hush, she's coming. There sounded outside the room door a heavy step and a grumpy voice, and a rattle of plates and dishes. It's my nurse, and she's bringing my dinner. But I won't dinner at all. I only want you. Will her come and drive you away, godmother? Oh, poor little boy. Perhaps, but only for a little while. Never mind. All the bolts and bars in the world couldn't keep me out. I'll fly in it and in at the window or down through the chimney. Only wish for me, and I come. Thank you, said Prince Doral, but almost in a whisper, for he was very uneasy at what might happen next. His nurse and his godmother, what would they say to one another? How would they look at one another? Two such different faces, one harsh line sunken, cross, and sad, the other sweet and bright and calm as a summer's evening before the dark beginnings. When the door was flung open, Prince Doral shut his eyes, trembling all over. Opening them again, he saw he need not fear nothing. His lovely old grandmother had melted away, just like the rainbow, out of the sky. As he watched it many a time, nobody but his nurse was in the room. What a muddle your Royal Highness is sitting in, she said sharply. Such a heap of untidy books. And what's this rubbish, like in a little bundle that lay beside him? Oh, nothing, nothing. Give it to me, cried the prince. And darting after, he hid it under his pinafore and pushing it quickly into his pocket. Rubbish as it was left in the place where she sat. It might be something belonging to her, his dear, kind godmother, whom already he loved with all his lovely, tender, pleasant heart. It was though he did not know this, his wonderful traveling cloak. Oh, poor little baby. But he got him a traveling cloak. He could travel now. He could go places. Let's see where he go in chapter 4. I'm happy I did that. High five. We knocked that chapter out. And we finished the BlackBerry corner. But I might give y'all another video. But subscribe, like, comment, do all that. If you don't, we're gonna break into your house, do all your furniture, and we're gonna take your remote. Remember that. We coming for that remote.